Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're digging into some really powerful stuff, excerpts from Lori Gottlieb's book, Maybe You Should Talk to Someone.
Yeah, and what we're doing is pulling out uh, the absolute core insights, those moments that make you go, aha, basically giving you a shortcut to understanding what this book is really getting at.
Exactly. And it's such a unique perspective, isn't it? Because Gottlieb is a therapist, but she writes about her own experience being a patient.
Right, so you get both sides of the couch, which is pretty fascinating. It's not just an outsider looking in.
So our mission here is to explore, what actually happens in therapy. Why do people go? What are the struggles therapists themselves face?
And what do these stories, these very human stories, tell us about, well, about us, about change, relationships, all that big stuff?
We want to make it feel like we're figuring this out together, drawing right from what Gottlieb shares.
Okay, let's get into it.
First thing, maybe a bit surprising for some people listening, therapists, they actually go to therapy too. A lot, apparently.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's really common, expected even, which, kind of bumps up against that image some people might have.
What image? Like the therapist as this perfectly calm, blank slate who has everything figured out.
Exactly that. Like
Well,
they're somehow above the messiness of human life. But the book makes it clear they still go to therapy.
so why? Why is that so important in the profession?
Well, a couple of big reasons. One is just processing the emotional load of the job. It's heavy work, sitting with intense pain day after day,
Right, they need their own outlet.
for sure. And the other thing is, life just happens to them too. Therapists have breakups, they get sick, they have family issues,
You're human.
they're human. They have their own demons, as the book puts it.
Mm.
Therapy isn't just for crises. It's a tool for navigating being human, and they use it too.
That totally reframes it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's not about being broken, it's about navigating. So the book also touches on therapists sharing personal stuff. Self-disclosure, how does that work?
Yeah, that's really delicate territory. The book suggests that if it's done very carefully, and not too often,
Sparingly.
right, sparingly, it can actually be helpful. It can make the therapist seem more real,
Yeah.
maybe encourage the patient to open up more, shows vulnerability is okay.
Like that little anecdote Gottlieb shares about maybe wearing a pajama top by accident. That
Yeah.
kind of human slip-up.
Exactly like that. It's relatable. But, and this is a big but, the sources stress that if it feels like the therapist is making it about them, or if it's just inappropriate,
Yeah.
it backfires. Patients might shut down, feel awkward, or even leave.
Mm.
It absolutely has to be for the patient's benefit.
That's a fine line to walk. And this all takes place in the therapy room itself, this kind of unique space.
The book calls it one of the only places left where two people sit in a room together for an uninterrupted 50 minutes. Just that dedicated time is huge.
And within that time, this sacred trust needs to form. The book really hammers home how vital that trust is for change.
Yeah, absolutely essential. And for therapists to really understand what's going on, they're not just listening to the words.
Or watching body language.
Well, yes, that too.
Yeah.
But also, crucially, paying attention to how we feel while we're sitting with them, their own emotional reaction.
There's that line from a supervisor in the book, something like, what you feel on the receiving end, that's real data, use it.
Exactly. The idea is that the feeling the therapist gets, it's probably similar to how other people in the patient's life feel around them. It's like a clue.
A clue to their relational patterns, maybe.
Yeah.
How they impact others without realizing it.
Precisely. So the therapist's gut feeling becomes part of the assessment, in a way. But this creates a bit of a weird dynamic sometimes, doesn't it?
How so?
Well, patients come wanting help, obviously.
Yeah.
But they also want to be liked, to seem okay. So they might maybe unconsciously hide the very things the therapist needs to see.
The vulnerabilities, the messy bits.
Right. While the therapist is trying to gently draw those out. So for a while, they might be working at cross purposes, even though both want the same outcome.
And the book is really clear that therapy isn't magic. It's work.
Oh, absolutely. Hard work for the patient.
Yeah.
You need accountability. You need to be willing to feel uncomfortable, to be vulnerable.
The therapist isn't just giving advice. They're, what was the word? Nudging.
Nudging patients towards their own insights. And yeah, that discomfort zone, that's often where the real shifts happen.
You got to lean into the discomfort. Okay, so when people first show up for therapy, they don't usually lay everything out at once, right?
No, not usually. The book uses the metaphor of a snapshot. You get this one picture, often taken during a really hard time, maybe from an unfortunate angle, as Gottlieb puts it.
Focused on the immediate problem.
Yeah. And the therapist's job is to sort of cajole them, gently encourage them to bring in other snapshots, other parts of their story to get a fuller picture.
What about blurry snapshots? The book mentions that too.
Right. People might forget exact details of the past, what happened, but the feeling of it, they often remember that with like perfect clarity.
So the feeling is the key, even if the facts are fuzzy.
Exactly. The therapist acts as an interpreter for those feelings. And sometimes that fuzziness is, protective. People gloss over painful stuff.
Makes sense. The book also has this really helpful idea about things like personality disorders, saying they lie on a spectrum.
Yes. And that everyone exhibits a tad of certain traits now and then. It moves away from these rigid, scary labels.
So it's less about the label, the code, and more about seeing the underlying struggle, the actual person.
Exactly. Seeing the human
Wow.
and not just the 5-digit diagnosis code, which leads us perfectly into the patient stories. These are composites disguised, but they feel so real.
Let's talk about Julie first. Facing terminal cancer, her story is just, wow, very direct.
Incredibly raw. What really stands out is how she rejected that whole brave warrior narrative. She was like, no, I'm terrified. She still hated needles. Real honesty.
And asking her therapist, will you stay with me until I die? That's intense. Immense. And you see Gottlieb grapple with her own feelings about death, needing to be there to help Julie, not comfort myself. That distinction.
Julie's grief feels so tangible. I'm going to miss life. It fucking sucks. Just letting it be raw.
But then there's this strange twist almost. Facing the end gives her this unexpected freedom, finding joy in planning details or just watching cashiers at Trader Joe's.
Simple moments become huge, and her telling her husband, Matt, that she wants him to love again.
You want to let him know it's okay to love again. Yeah. That generosity is just breathtaking, really, given the circumstances.
Her story also brings up that whole professional debate, doesn't it? About therapists attending funerals, about needing to compartmentalize their humanity.
Right, versus maybe how a doctor or clergy member might be more present in those final stages or after. It's a tricky boundary question.
Okay, shifting gears to John. He comes across very differently at first. Complaining, calling people idiots. Yeah, definite narcissistic vibes initially. Everything is someone else's fault. And the book notes his difficulty with emotions, which is, sadly, a common struggle for many men, that pressure to suppress feelings.
He even tries to pull Lori into his wife Margot's therapy sessions, convinced the therapist is only getting one side of the story.
Classic move sometimes. But then the layers peel back, and you get to this profound, really deep grief he's carrying for his son Gabe, who died years ago, and also his mother.
He wonders if maybe he and Margot just keep triggering each other, remind each other of what happened.
He talks about wanting closure, but the book pushes back on that gently. Like, how can there be an endpoint to love and loss? Grief isn't something you just finish.
It's part of you because the love was part of you.
Exactly. And a really moving moment is when he finally shows Lori that family photo. It's like he lets her see him, the total humanity, not just the defense mechanisms.
He realizes he didn't just come for stress. He came for Margot, for Gabe, because of the grief. And he feels like Lori gets it.
Yeah. His story also introduces that simple word, sometimes. How powerful it is for escaping that rigid black or white thinking. Life isn't all or nothing.
It's usually sometimes. Okay, then there's Charlotte. Her pattern seems to be about relationships.
Yeah, unconsciously recreating her internalized family of origin, choosing partners who feel familiar, even if familiar means chaotic or unstable.
Dismissing the nice, stable ones because there's no chemistry.
Right, because stability feels unfamiliar. The book also mentions her using alcohol to cope, the anxiety-muting effects, and relying on texting for tough talks.
Using emojis, even.
Yeah, which avoids all that messy, direct emotional stuff you get face-to-face. All the nonverbal cues are lost.
She worries about getting addicted to therapy itself.
Right.
And then abruptly leaves when things start feeling better.
Which the book calls comfortably dangerous. It's like retreating to the familiar pattern of pulling away is safer, in a weird way, than risking deeper connection.
But that moment when Lori is late and Charlotte's reaction.
Tears of relief when she shows up. It just reveals how much that connection actually means to her. Underneath all the defenses, the relationship is holding her.
Then Rita, her core belief seems to be love is pain.
Yeah, she's always waiting for the other shoe to drop, expecting disappointment. And her decision to care for her difficult mother, who hadn't really cared for her.
That raises that big question the book poses. What do I owe my parents and what do they owe me? So tough.
Really tough. And she actively sabotages a potential connection with Myron after a kiss. Like she can't let something good happen.
But the letter she writes, that feels like a huge step.
Oh, absolutely. So vulnerable. Admitting her fears, like, I didn't want to lose Richard again, her late husband. And her daughter's reaction, is this my mom? It shows the shift.
But the book keeps it real.
Ah,
She makes progress, uses tissues, engages more, but old habits die hard.
exactly. The pain abates but doesn't vanish. New, healthier relationships still take conscious work. It's not automatic.
And woven through all of this is the author's own therapy journey with Wendell.
Which is what makes the book's structure so compelling. She's going through her own stuff. A tough breakup with boyfriend over kids, these weird health issues.
The wandering uterus thing, potential autoimmune problems.
Right, and she's trying to figure out, was the breakup about her health? Or was it something else? Like, maybe they were both avoiding honesty.
And Wendell, her therapist, suggests she might be grieving something bigger. Not just the breakup, but maybe facing mortality, her fight with death.
Which she totally resists at first. But it plants a seed. She talks about crying in session feeling like emotional yoga.
I like that. And that awkward moment when she thinks Wendell might know what she's been Googling about him.
So relatable. But it also shows the therapist's discipline, right? Not bringing outside info into the room.
She reflects on her own path, too. Finding therapy after trying Hollywood, thinking about med school, this circuitous route.
Feeling rushed to enjoy it now that she's found this work. And finding meaning in the very act of writing about her therapy, realizing it has meaning.
Okay, so if we pull back from these specific stories, what are the big connecting themes that emerge?
Well, that idea of grieving something bigger definitely resonates across stories. It's not just the immediate loss, but maybe losing a future you expected or an identity.
Or just confronting mortality, the big existential stuff.
Yeah. And then there's the critique of our culture's speed of want, wanting quick fixes, avoiding the deep, messy work of looking inward.
The dream without doing the emotional labor. The book even questions bucket lists sometimes. Are they about living or denying death?
Kind of connects to Jung's idea about people doing anything to avoid facing their own souls.
But the flip side is, looking inside is where the awakening happens.
Like, who looks inside awakes.
Ugh.
The book links these struggles to what Irvin Yalom called the ultimate concerns: death, isolation, freedom, meaninglessness.
The deep fears we all carry, basically.
And therapy becomes a space to actually look at them. Facing the fear of death, literal or symbolic, can ironically free you up to live more fully.
What about self-sabotage? Why do people do that?
The book suggests it can be a twisted form of control. Like, if I engineer my own death, or failure, or breakup, it hurts less than if it happens to me unexpectedly.
Wow, that's a heavy thought.
It is. And the importance of emotions comes through so strongly. Not numbing them, not ignoring them, leads to feeling deadness.
Learning to actually feel your feelings is key to making choices.
Conscious choices, yeah. And then there's rupture and repair. This applies everywhere, not just therapy.
Okay, explain that one a bit.
Basically, mistakes happen in relationships.
Yeah.
Things get messy, feelings get hurt. That's the rupture. It's inevitable.
Okay.
But the crucial part is the repair. Can you acknowledge the mistake, talk about it, and mend the connection? That's how trust deepens.
And we learn how to do that, or not, in childhood, usually.
Often, yeah. So therapy can be a place to practice that, to tolerate ruptures without running away and learn how to repair them. Trusting the connection can survive a mistake.
So looking at Gottlieb's own journey in the book, it wasn't just about finding happiness again after the breakup.
It was more about finding meaning. And the book suggests that meaning is often what leads to real, lasting fulfillment. And a lot of that meaning came from the therapy relationship itself.
So if you had to boil it down, what's the core message you take away after this deep dive?
I think it's that real change, real growth. It happens in relation to others, especially within that safe, trusting space like therapy, but also in our everyday connections too.
And these stories, they're also different on the surface, but underneath.
Underneath, it's our shared humanity, isn't it? We all wrestle with fear, with patterns, with wanting connection and meaning. The therapy room just brings it into focus.
It really does. It leaves you thinking. There's that quote the book mentions about the prisoner shaking the bars of an open jail cell.
Right. All the prisoner has to do is walk around. But still, he frantically shakes the bars. Makes you wonder, doesn't it?
Where might you, listening now, be shaking the bars of a door that's actually open? What discomfort are you avoiding that might hold the key to freedom?
Or maybe just think about this. You talk to yourself more than anyone else. What's the tone of that inner voice? Is it kind? Is it true? Is it helping you walk towards that open door?